Welcome to Conversations at Night. Tonight's topic is about the student loan crisis within America. We'll be touching base on how the student loans affect students, what options students have, whether it's to go to college or not. And we have a special guest for you tonight, so stay tuned. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Conversations at Night. Tonight we have a special guest with us. He's a speaker, humanitarian, author, and entrepreneur.
Yes.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. Thank
Great.
you so much for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
No problem. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of college and student loan debt.
Yes.
It is a crisis. It's something that has been declared a crisis for a while. In 2015, they did say that U.S. students have the most in student loan debt, and that's about 40 million students in 2019. So you can only imagine how much deeper into students having the student loan debt.
Yeah.
So I wanted to touch base with you on your opinion on the student loan crisis. How do you feel about the student loan crisis?
It breaks my heart just because I'm a part of that crisis as well.
Okay.
I'm going to a 4-year university, phenomenal education. Went to Drake University, transferred to Southwest Baptist University, and then also to Lake Wales. So I got a good mixture of wealth of knowledge. I double majored in pastoral ministries, exercise science. So the content was there, but the finances, that's what really hurts most of the college students, just because once you get your degree, what's next?
Right.
And it's so much money you're spending. And a lot of the jobs are not able to provide the instant gratification you need once you finish or once you graduate. So I believe the debt is hurting a lot of our youth. And when I mean youth, of course, anyone who's graduated from college. So it bothers me. I know we can do something about that. So I know we'll discuss that in a little bit too.
Right. So you said you have a 4-year degree. Are you using that degree right now?
So exercise science, pastoral ministries, I double majored. So what I am using is the personal training side from exercise science, but I really didn't need a degree for that. You can get a certification online, or you can physically go into a school and become a certified personal trainer. You don't need a 4-year degree from an institution. Pastoral ministries, of course, I do travel, speak. I preach as well, alongside my father as well too. He's a pastor. So I would say I do use my knowledge from college. However, I did not need the degree.
In order to pursue
Right.
what it is that you want to do.
So everything I'm doing right now did not need a degree. I could have done this without the degree.
All right. Was it your choice to go to college, or did somebody push you towards that?
100% my choice. The reason why is because I was an athlete. So I played football for college.
Nice.
My goal was to play in the NFL. It was looking in the right direction, played Division I. However, obviously it did not go the way I planned. Blew up my ACL, but the connections that I received, I think that's the greatest thing I received from college. Not so much the piece of paper, but mostly the connections. Never. I think that's the best. I've never regret college. The best thing I got out of college, not the content, but the connections.
All right, that's interesting. So do you necessarily feel like college is something that is worth it, considering your experience? Do you feel like it's worth it for, let's say, a potential student right now who's considering going to college?
Yes.
Do you feel like that's something that would be worth it for them, or?
Well, I need to look in the camera for this. Is this the camera?
That's the camera.
My doctors, please go to college. My lawyers, please go to college. My engineers, please go to college. So obviously, those who carry a whole lot of weight on their shoulders, it's a necessity. My brain surgeons, they need to go to college. They need that content, information. Those who are not sure what they want to do in life, still, you can go to a 2-year, get your AA, go to community college just to get your feet wet, get out the house, try something that's definitely brand new. To acquire that much debt, I do not recommend anybody go to college if they're going to carry on that much debt.
Right.
I'd rather you go to a trade school or become an entrepreneur.
Right.
Because they don't teach you a lot of stuff that you need outside of college in a normal 4-year institution. So trade school, I definitely recommend that. If you know you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, go to college. You need it. I need it.
Right. I definitely agree with you, because I feel like, there are a lot of people who sign up for college and then they get out making minimum wage pay. They got a degree, spent 4 years, just like most college degrees take 4 years. They're in debt, have no money to pay it off, and it's like this whole cycle of them just feeling overwhelmed almost, and they can't get out of that place of being stuck. Like, oh, I'm gonna be stuck making this amount of money, even though I have a degree. What's the point of the degree? Like, it's almost as if the degree is just something that you can tell people you have, but you can't really use it.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you on that.
Yes.
And my other question was, if you feel like students, who are now going through that whole aspect of, I'm not sure if I should go to college, or maybe I should. What's the advice you would give them in terms of if they decide not to?
Great. If they decide not to, and if they do decide, but let's go with decide not to. First thing I want to say is write down what you like to do. What do you love to do? Like, absolutely, if no one paid you anything for it, what would you want to do for the rest of your life? Or at least for the first 5 years, 10 years. Write it down on a piece of paper. Everything, whether it's been hair, cosmetology, becoming a barber, becoming a preacher, whatever you like to do, write it down from both sides. And then the next thing I want to find out is, what would they do with their time? If they had extra time, what would they do with it? So if they didn't go to college, what are you doing with your time for the next 4 or 5 years? 9 times out of 10, you can find out exactly what that person wants to do in that little page of what they love to do and where they will spend their time, because that's where their money will go as well. So instead of going, jumping right on board and going to sign up for a 4-year institution, write down, what do I like to do? What do I love to do? What can I see myself doing every day if no one paid me for it? That, once you figure that part out, then you can decide, okay, I want to be a personal trainer. I'm willing to get an online certification, or I want to be a doctor. I'm willing to go to a 4-year institution and then take my pre-med courses and then go to medical school. Now you can decipher what you want to do. But don't just jump in too quickly before finding out what you want to do. We're young. We're super young. I need you to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Making a mistake of the 4-year institution, paying $100,000, that is a mistake I don't want you to make. That's why I want you to list out, what is everything you love to do? And then we'll take it from there. That's the first step.
So after they break down the 5 things, like you said, how do they pick that one thing?
Yes. So I'll just take myself, for example. Things that I love to do. I absolutely love to eat. I'm serious. I love to eat. And some people think that's not the big deal, but you can get chefs out of that going to culinary school. So I love to eat. Believe it or not, I'm a loctician, so I do hair. I love to do hair. All right. Surprise. So I'm a loctician, do hair. I'm also a personal trainer, and I love people as far as interacting with people and feeding people. And of course, I'm a preacher. So that's 5 different things I love to do. Okay. So I wrote those down. The question is, where do I want to spend my time and attention in my university? What gives me the most excitement? And honestly, preaching gives me the most excitement, and so does people's physical body. And so that's why I went to school for personal training, exercise science and pastoral ministry. So again, after you list it down, figure out what is the most excitement, what gets you excited the most, and then focus your time and attention to that. Once you've done that, then you can pick and choose later on what you like to do. Like, I became not a cosmetologist. I got my license through Florida. So I started doing hair braiding license, things of that nature. So you can start doing locks. And then personal training, get that certification on the side. You can go to 2 years, you can do it in 1 year, or you can do it online. Right. Boom, I started training with there and started a business. So I started multiple businesses. But it doesn't have to be an instantaneous thing. Figure out the 5 things you like to do, what excites you the most, and then focus your time and attention on that.
Okay. So do you feel like college is basically a brand that is sold to individuals? I do feel like it is a profitable industry. So of course people are going to encourage you, go to college. Because I know there are people who possibly are thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't go and I should focus on the 5 things that you're saying. But there's all this pressure of, you need to go to college. Everybody's going to college. Everybody's done it. So you got to go. So do you feel like it's something that's almost like a marketing thing? Like they're selling something to you just so they can profit from it?
Oh, yeah. I 100% believe that. That's why they diminish community colleges versus a 4-year institution that's, statewide. Education is education. Like I said, the greatest thing I got from college is not education. It's the connections that I've made.
connections.
So a lot of people are going into Yale or Harvard because of the connections that they'll receive when they receive that piece of paper, and also amongst their own cliques. That's the biggest thing that I'm receiving with college. Like it is it's a great branding portion of it. Like it's exciting. As an athlete now, speaking as a college athlete, I'm heartbroken because like Tim Tebow, tremendous. Everybody knows who he is.
Right.
His clothing in college sold so many jerseys. He made nothing from it. Zero, nothing from that. It's illegal.
Wow.
So he didn't make any profits from his clothing. Tim Tebow was playing football, which bothered me. So it is a money generator for the football industry, for their programming. And that's where a lot of college athletes are getting themselves in trouble. And you can't receive money early as a college athlete. It's illegal before you go into the NFL. And most of the goals of a college athlete is to play at the next level. And so they're struggling. A lot of college athletes, before they get the $1 million checks from receiving the NFL, they're struggling in college because the schools are branding them and making tremendous amount of
money.
Oh, yes, but they're not making anything. I mean, they're getting their full tuition paid for and maybe a stipend on the side. That's about it. Not the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that could be received as a college student.
That's crazy. I really had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really political, whether people realize it or not. It's a lot of politics in college athletes, athletic sports, and just the college industry.
Right, in general, because from the research that I was doing, a TED talk that I was watching, and the person basically was saying that, the education system is completely a profitable industry, and they're doing whatever it is that they need to do, and these institutions, they're profiting from it twice. First from your tuition, and then from the interest that they're getting from the loans.
Right.
So it's just crazy how you'd think it's something that was created to help people, but it's really like the opposite effect. They're basically using you for your money at the end of the day.
We get some perks. We get a piece of paper and the education and connections, but at the same time, at what cost? At what expense? That's a lot of work we're putting in as college students to receive so little in return, a piece of paper. And yes, we can gain that knowledge, but you don't need going to a 4-year institution to get that knowledge. A lot of that can be self-taught, or you can go and literally teach yourself. Seriously, you can teach yourself. Just think about it, those who've been in prison right now. They're getting their 4-year degree in prison. They're getting it. Right. They're educating themselves. They're learning. They're reading. They're studying. They're taking courses online, and they're getting their information. Right. So when they come out of prison or jail, they're so much further along education-wise. So education is not only for a 4-year institution. It can be self-taught.
Do you think it would be smarter to, let's say, invest your money in like a business that you want to do earlier on rather than investing that money and going to college? Because basically right now college is an investment.
Right.
So do you think it's smarter to do it that way? And if so, how would somebody go about that?
Okay. So I would say it's a twofold answer. I would say it's better to invest into knowledge more than into an institution. So I'd rather you learn from Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, all sales, because a lot of people don't realize that sales is everything. But like when you speak with someone, you're selling them that you're a good person. So sales is a really big component. So understand selling. So learn as much as you can. Invest your time, your money, and your attention into gaining knowledge. I'm not saying go into a 4-year institution. So learn as much as you can, self-taught. Go to seminars, go somewhere else, hire a tutor, something of that nature.
YouTube these days
will teach you everything. It will
people overlook that all the time.
Yeah, so I would say gain as much investment into self-taught information or knowledge instead of into a 4-year institution. However, if you know for a fact you want to be a doctor, go to school. It's still invest inside yourself, but go to school. You have to. Yeah. I don't want someone who just doesn't want to go to college. Nope, I don't want a self-taught doctor. I need to see that you came from a 4-year institution and med school and you did I want to see that. Okay. That's what I want to see. I guess now the second portion of it, how do you go about doing that? Like I said already, you can go on YouTube, you can start buying. Like I highly recommend Grant Cardone if you're into sales, or Gary Vee if you're into sales. There's many other people as well. Tony Robbins for knowledge information as well. So invest your time and attention, your finances into this content. Once you gather this content, the next thing is find out what do you want to do to benefit the world, not just yourself. Because if you want to become wealthy or just better at anything, figure out where the problem is. If you can find out a problem, offer the world a solution, they will pay you for it. That simple. If you find there's a problem, the fastest way to become a millionaire, fastest way, what is $1 million problem? Give a $1 million solution. That's it. And it doesn't have to be a tremendous, extraordinary, great idea.
Right.
A spoon. The inventors of spoons, the inventors of lights, the light bulbs, the inventors of cars. Like, think about small things. It will blow your mind.
Right, but I feel like people underestimate the power of like their ideas. Like they feel like, oh, it's too small or it's not gonna go anywhere. So, what is your advice to people when, like, if you have an idea, do you just go for it, or like what would you?
My idea. If you have an idea, number one, write it down.
Like you said earlier.
Immediately, because if you understand what an idea, and because I have a spiritual background, when you have an idea, it is you having drop information downloaded into you for a purpose that was meant to change many lives. Okay. The acronym DREAM, I say ideas and dream are synonymous, but the acronym for DREAM for me is DREAM. God is downloading revelation for you to execute a mission. Dream. So once God has downloaded that idea, that dream inside your head, immediately write it down. So when you can read it, everybody else can keep you accountable, and they can run with that idea with you and push you to keep you accountable. So once you've written it down, see it, and now run. My definition for success is having an idea, writing on paper, seeing it manifest in real life. Once you see that idea written on paper and you see it manifest, you have to work for it to manifest in real life. That is true success in the simplest form. So how do you start doing that process? Write it down. Next, figure out how much work you need to do in order for that to come up into fruition. For example, my goal is to feed at least 100 people a week, at bare minimum 100 people a week. How do I do that? Well, number one, I have an idea. I want to feed 100 people. How do I do that? God, give me information. What can I do to get 100 people fed? Okay. And I was like, well, what do we wear every day? We wear clothes every single day. So I was like, okay, if we're wearing clothes every day, how about we build a solution to a problem, and now I'm able to feed. So we started clothing line. Every time people see this number, what's that number on your chest? That's my introduction to tell people, oh, I'm glad you asked. 1 in 6 people in America, they go to bed hungry every day in America. And that bothered me. And so we want to do something about that. Every time someone wears a shirt, hat, shoes from us, they buy anything from our product line, we feed 11 people. So that's our goal. We will feed 5,785,439 meals every year. That's our goal. That's what we want to be pushing for. So now we found a problem. Hunger is an issue. How are we going to solve it? By clothes, by what you wear, by the books we sell, anything, by personal training. So now we have an idea written on paper, manifest in real life. People are being fed by entrepreneurship ideas that are in us.
Right. That's amazing. And you are a social entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So what has been your journey as a social entrepreneur?
It's been an incredible journey.
Okay.
Fantastic. No negatives at all. Okay. The greatest part about this journey is that I get to see the solution happening in real life in my lifetime. So again, my social problem. So a social entrepreneur is someone who goes into business or into an enterprise with the sole purpose of solving a social issue. So my social issue that I need to see abolished is hunger. I gotta see that thing eradicated. I don't want to see I don't even want to know the word hunger means. It needs to be depleted from our dictionary. Exactly. Hunger, sex trafficking is another one. Women's rights. There's so many social problems that anybody can pick and choose. So my journey for social entrepreneurship in this endeavor has been great because every time someone buys a shirt, shoes, hat, books, I know that part of that proceeds goes to feed people. So I've seen 50,000 people meals being distributed already because of the social entrepreneurship endeavor that we started. So I'm incredibly excited. Am I satisfied? No.
Okay.
5,785,439 meals need to be distributed every year. So I'm not satisfied, but I am very pleased. Very pleased.
That's good. And what is the difference between a regular entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur?
It's so small, but so big.
Okay.
The smallest difference is you want to fix a social problem. Entrepreneurs, we're fixing problems, period. Social entrepreneurs, we're fixing problems, but with a social twist.
Okay.
So for me, obesity is massive. It's huge, especially in America. It's rampant. It's ridiculous. And so I went into business as an entrepreneur, as a personal trainer, and opened my own gym. I was like, I'm gonna get people fit. Period. They need to be fit. So I'm fixing a problem, just obesity, especially childhood obesity. I'm fixing the problem by changing people's diet, changing people's lifestyle, and the workout regimen. So now their bodies are being better. I'm happy about that. I fix a problem, people pay me for that. How do I become a social entrepreneur? I said, well, there's got to be a way for me to assist people who are a nonprofit organization that are helping to teach about education on diabetes and childhood malnutrition, things of that nature. How can I partner with them? So what I would do is, after personal training, take part of my proceeds. Of course, I would feed people. Then I'll also fund a nonprofit organization. When I come in partnership with the nonprofit organization, I then become a social entrepreneur. So the slightest difference is making your mindset to help a nonprofit or for-profit, but help a nonprofit fix a social problem that they're already doing. That's it. That's the biggest but smallest difference. Personal trainer, now personal trainer that gives back. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a book called The Social Entrepreneur.
Yes,
Can
I
you
do.
tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yes. So I lived in Missouri for a little bit, and it's a show me state.
Okay.
So we're in a generation that doesn't want you to just tell you, hey, be an entrepreneur or be somebody great or change the world. We want to know how. Give me step-by-step instructions. How can I be a better person? How can I be a better advocate, a better human for this world? So that's what we do. We break it down in the social entrepreneur, step by step, starting with a dream. We'll break down what a dream is, break down what idea is, and how to form a business from that. And once you form a business, what are you going to do with the money? Are you just going to keep it for pure profit, which is okay? That's why you go in business.
Right.
Or can you take a percentage and give it to a nonprofit organization that helps solve a social problem? And that is what the book's all about. In the few chapters in there, I break down how I challenge you to a 14-day, well, it's a month, but 14-day challenge, starting a business from scratch with no money. And I want you to accumulate $1,000 in at least 30 days.
And that's possible.
Did it in 14. I have a young gentleman, Tristan Thomas. He did it in less than 30 days. So yeah, my goal for him is he had a clothing line and he had an idea about it. I was like, do it. Don't just talk about it. Do it. Write it down. Write your vision down. Write how many people you want to help, and then what do you want to do with that money? Of course, you're going to profit from it, but what are you going to do with it? So he had Fargo season. He ran with the idea. He accumulated over $1,000 in January, and just been rolling. And then just the advice that he's receiving and the content and work that he's putting in, the combination has been exceptional. So my advice to anybody who wants to make a social change is to truly figure out what bothers you the most. What in this world bothers you? It might not be hunger. It might be sex trafficking. It might be bullying. Whatever bothers you, rubs you the wrong way. My mom always told me, the thing that bothers you the most, 9 times out of 10, you're called to fix it. And so find out what bothers you and then link up with someone who's already doing it, fixing the problem, or you be the answer. And then run with the idea.
And where can people find the book?
Yeah, so where you can find the book is, of course, my personal site, Joshua Wolliston on Facebook or on Instagram. You can definitely look on their website itself, so 5mil.org, and that's 5, the number 5, MIL.org. And of course, if you want to look on our clothing line, it's Wear Hope Now on Instagram. You'll see the clothing line, but you'll also see the book, just because anything that you buy from us, whether it be books, hats, shirts, 11 meals will be distributed from anything you purchase. So that's why the book you'll see on there.
Based on tonight's episode, we were able to touch base on the student loan crisis and how it affects students after graduation. We were also able to touch base on the different options that students may have before signing up for college. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share to keep the conversation going. And put a comment down below on some of the topics that you'd like to hear. My name is Irene Tedede, and I'm your host. And thank you again for watching Conversations at Night.